How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to yet another video, and today we've got a bunch of information to get through, and we're going to just kick straight off with this video. And well, let's set a like challenge first, right? As you know, in the previous video, not the one that just came before this, but the one before, we set a 500 like. We set a 500 like in the previous one as well, but I'm recording this one straight after that one, so it kind of doesn't really work, does it? So I'm going to set this video with a 500 like challenge. Let's see if we can hit that 500 likes. I know you can do it. Keep it up. Don't forget to subscribe if you have yet to do so. It all helps. If you want to further support the channel, you can do that through YouTube Join memberships or through my Patreon. Again, none of that is required. A simple like and a subscribe, which is totally free, is more than enough. Okay, so World of Warcraft exec says it's pretty well positioned to finally bring the MMO to console. Will World of Warcraft be an Xbox console exclusive? I don't know if it'll be an Xbox exclusive. I can see it definitely coming to Xbox. They did add native controller support into WoW a few updates ago. So that's all gearing towards a console release. Now, how this will work in terms of it being a first-party game, they could offer you in-game gold as perks every month that you can then use through the WoW tokens, as my friend Chili told me, and those could then be exchanged for your monthly subscription or to get in-game items or whatever you want to do with them. But the alternative to that is they probably might give you a discount on your subscription, maybe a 10-15% discount. It's still a good thing, right? So at the end of the day, I think that's kind of cool, and I think that this will be an interesting turn of events once it does happen, to see how they actually handle it. But WoW on Xbox could actually do really well. Don't forget, Final Fantasy XI was on Xbox originally during the 360 days. I mean, Final Fantasy XI back then was a crazy, crazy game. MMOs back then were different. I mean, you lived in them. But after 11 pretty much got discontinued on the console, it was never really picked up again for the Xbox One, and it pretty much fell off the PS. I think it fell off the PS2 quite late in the day, and it was never ported to the PS3 either. So it remains PC only for the time being. It's still alive, but it shows that, Microsoft has had that history with MMOs. They've still got PSO on there, which is not as deep, I'd say, as like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 11 or Final Fantasy 14, which is also coming to Xbox. But just think about it. If WoW is exclusive to the Xbox platform, they will have PSO2, they will have Elder Scrolls, they will have WoW, they will have Final Fantasy 14. The only one missing would be New World. I know how you all feel about New World, but apparently it's good now. Might be worth a look. King Trash here. Yes, I said King Trash. Deal with it. The S-Class Gamer is back with such a bad take. It would have been a good take. It would have, but information I found out recently is basically derailing this, right? So because Series S is the best-selling Xbox, Microsoft wants to charge a premium for our low-quality hardware. That is incorrect based on the information I found. This is how they thank Brazil for backing them all these years. This is also incorrect. This is path to the course. Of course he's going to say that because ponies love to lie. This is pro-consumer. Okay. Let's talk about it. So the Series S has increased in price, right? We all know this. It's here. It's happened. It's $700, right? But the Series X has not increased in price. So that's weird, right? Why would you increase the Series S and bring it on par with the Series X price or higher than the Series X, but not change the Series X price? Does that make sense to any of you? Because it doesn't make sense to me. Why would you price the Series S above the X? Well, there's a reason for this. See, I've heard, and again, this is just a rumor, so take it as you will, but the Black Series S hasn't yet released in Brazil. But when it does, it's actually going to take place the original price point that the Series S had. From what I've been hearing from people that are, well, let's just say, I won't say they're insiders, but people that I know that work in the games industry, this has been a move that they feel is to stop people buying the Series S, the white version, and basically trying to take it off the shelves. I don't understand why they wouldn't have taken it off the shelves entirely. So there's some inconsistency there too. But they want to replace it with the Black S. Now I'm assuming there's some technical issues or logistics as to why the Black Series S isn't yet available in Brazil. But my assumption is once the Black Series S becomes available, which speaking to a couple Brazilians, it's coming soon. I think it's actually going to replace the original price of the Series S. Time will tell, of course, whether this is true or not. This could all be bollocks and I could just have egg thrown in my face. And that is fine. I'm happy to admit when I'm wrong. I am acting and reporting based on a rumor after all. But I really think that that is where this is going, because there is no logistical reason as to why the Series S would be priced more than the X. It makes no sense other than the fact that Microsoft does not want you buying the Series S white, and with the release of the black imminent in Brazil, I think this is what they're waiting for, to push it out and have people purchase the black version with more storage, and they'll probably bundle it with Game Pass as well to make it a better deal. And anyway, that's what I think. You let me know in the comment section below what you think, because that makes a lot of sense to me. Again, it may not happen, but you know, let me know what you think. So Square Enix has posted their official second quarter fiscal year report. Operating income fell 33% compared to the previous year, despite the increase of sales from Final Fantasy XVI and Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster. Let's not forget that Final Fantasy XVI hit the lower scale of what their predictions were, not even the medium or the high. It hit the lower end. Pixel Remaster actually did well, and it did basically as they expected it. The digital entertainment division showed an overall decrease of revenue. MMO also saw a decrease in sales. They're referring to Final Fantasy XIV, and that is mainly because Final Fantasy XIV 6.0 expansion has been a colossal screw-up. It's been boring, the content hasn't been great, and this is because, in my opinion, Yoshi P was stretched so thin between Final Fantasy XVI and, Final Fantasy XIV. Add to that, they finished their 10-year saga with Final Fantasy XIV 6.0, so 6.1 basically started a new story. So if you're playing A Realm Reborn, you're pretty much seeing what they're kind of delivering here, but they're delivering it with all the bells and whistles of all the quality of life updates that came along that, attached itself to Final Fantasy XIV. It's not bad, but it's had its bumps, put it that way. And a lot of people, after the 10-year saga, have decided to call it quits because they finished the story. They don't feel like starting another 10-year story to go through, and I can totally get that. However, the goods division is still going strong. The predicted 2023 fiscal year earnings is still projected to increase slightly from last year, but profits are predicted to be about 21.9% less than the 2022 fiscal year. And from what I'm seeing, that's roughly about a $2 billion deficit from what they earned last year. So that's a lot of money they're losing right now. And, well, I'm not saying if they released all their games on Xbox, that would have 100% changed it, but they definitely probably would have made less of a loss. So hopefully they'll have realized the errors of their ways and start releasing games on more platforms rather than one specific platform, and then turn around and blame that platform for having such a small user base. I mean, at worst case scenario, release it, on PC at the same time. That is the biggest market out there after all. And avoiding and ignoring the biggest market in the world, the PC market, just sounds silly to me. So, this is really interesting, isn't it? Remember all that time PlayStation fanboys were laughing along, trolling Xbox because they were too poor to be able to afford Twitter, and they were not allowed to. They're not going to give it to their consumers. They are anti-consumer. They don't care about their consumers. Well, at least Microsoft now has redeveloped and redesigned all of that with OneDrive in mind and has put it together. So they've actually done something about it. But PlayStation, on the other hand, has now also decided that as of November the 13th, next week, Monday, Twitter will no longer be on the PlayStation 5 platform, or on PlayStation communities on your PlayStation 5 platform. So it's really interesting because now a lot of PlayStation fans are upset that this is happening, but I don't see a single one of them calling Sony poor or anti-consumer, and they're all blaming Elon Musk now. I mean, they weren't blaming Elon Musk before when it happened when Microsoft pulled out. They weren't saying that this was an Elon Musk issue. They were saying that Microsoft was poor, Xbox was poor and anti-consumer. So why is it now that PlayStation isn't anti-consumer? PlayStation isn't poor. I mean, they're talking about PlayStation buying Rockstar. What are they, on crack or something? I mean, at this point, whatever they're smoking, they probably want to go to rehab and get their heads re-examined and at least cleaned out a bit, because if they think they're in a position to buy Rockstar games and they can't even afford 45 grand, cuckoo, is what I'm seeing here. But at the end of the day, say as you will, this is happening, and I guess finally, PlayStation has shown just. I mean, let's even pull all that aside, right? They turned around and increased the PlayStation Plus price so they can provide their community with better games and services. Now, let me repeat that again. Jim Ryan himself said that these prices are increasing to provide better games and services. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Keep an eye on the screen and look at the actual context that's being said here. Jim Ryan said that the PlayStation Plus, the premium, extra, essentials price increase, 500% in Turkey, by the way. They increased it by 500%. They're increasing these prices to provide better games and services. So what I see is them doing is removing services. Hey, I don't make the rules up. I don't make the quotes up. I'm just saying what the dude said, and he lying shit. And he lying. I mean, I know they called him Jimmy Lion Ryan, but he lying. That's what I'm saying. All right, this one over here. This one is quite funny. MBG makes a comeback, and I think this one is pretty cool because my dude has some of the worst takes alongside what's his stupid face name? No, not the meth guy. Reforge. Reforge is pretty bad. I mean, as you all know, he's blocked me now because I called him out on the fact that he turned around and said that he doesn't owe his community anything, despite the fact that they pay for his salary. They pay for, his monthly wage. And I'm like, they owe you nothing? Huh? And I'm guessing he was either in my video or someone immediately clipped it and sent it to him. And, well, it hurt his little feelings and he blocked me on Twitter. What he doesn't know is that everyone is tweeting his bad takes, and I never actually once went to his profile. I think I went once or twice and argued with him, but that's about it. But after that, I just ignored him, but I just see it being posted all the time. When you've got so many bad takes, you don't need to go to the guy's profile. Like he's a magnet for people to laugh at him. Anyway, let's see what this dude had to say.
Rating on just two different levels. However, the one thing I will say is I refuse to believe and I refuse to accept that the winner in the video game industry is the one who can spend the most amount of money.
Now, I want to stop him right there because there's a thing, right? When PlayStation first burst onto the scene, they bought Psygnosis. Psygnosis at the time owned 40% of the gaming market. But Sony bought them. And they still own them. They've lost a lot of the game and the franchise and the hold they had on the gaming industry, but they bought the game industry. If you buy 40% of the industry and you leave 60% for Nintendo and Sega to battle it out, and Sega wasn't doing great at the time, so you basically bought Sega out of the industry, right? They pretty much pushed them out. Yes, I'm aware that Sega made some really bad choices and really bad decisions, but at the end of the day, when you lose 40% of the gaming market, that is huge. But that is what Sony did, and it wasn't a problem for anyone back then. None of these people have a problem with Sony doing that and wouldn't have a problem with them doing it again.
Even if that is how it goes, I will quit gaming and I will be done, because
I guarantee you 100% he will not be done. He will not quit. He'll be back on his podcast crying and trying to make his point across.
That's unacceptable to me. That is a complete disservice and disrespect to what this industry is and what it's capable of, what it has.
But it wasn't a disservice or a disrespectful when Sony did it all them years ago when they bought Psygnosis with 40% of the market share, of the gaming market share. That wasn't a disservice. That wasn't disrespectful. Of course not, because the goalposts are moving every single time when it becomes a Sony problem. When it's a Sony problem, the goalposts are moved and it's seen as a pro-consumer move, a business move. But when it's someone else doing it and it's anti-consumer, it is not pro-consumer. It is a problem.
Has been doing for decades now. The notion that it's whoever can spend the most money wins. I want no part in that.
But you will have a part in that. You will have a part in that.
I'm not saying that's what Microsoft is doing. I'm just saying that they are ushering in a new era where there is going to be a lot more money being spent, not just by Microsoft, but by other conglomerates as well and other major tech companies. It's going to happen, but I will always believe that, the smaller companies, such as Nintendo, such as Sony,
Nintendo being a small company, is he crazy?
Companies that have made this industry, frankly, what it is.
Sony made this industry what it is by buying the industry. Is anyone else seeing the irony here?
In many ways, will not only survive and persist, but thrive as well, because they'll always have that touch that any corporation that's just soullessly spending money to try to win will never have.
And yet they're still crying for Sony to go and soullessly spend and buy corporations and acquisitions. So, I mean, the irony, the double standards, the copium that's coming out of this guy is quite real. He almost had me at one point when he was talking about the little guys, but then he immediately went and tried to make him, to make them look like the victim when Sony did this all along. I don't know, folks. You let me know what you think in the comment section below. There's a lot of copium here, but Square Enix losing all that money. We've got World of Warcraft. There's a lot of good information here. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget, we have that 500 like challenge. Let's see if we can smash that. And of course, if you haven't yet subscribed, please consider. We are trying to hit 7,500 by Christmas. And of course, if you want to support the channel further or support me as a creator, you can do that through my Patreon. You can do that through the YouTube membership, or you can just do it through donations. Either way, it is entirely up to you. Simply liking and subscribing, which is totally free, goes a long way in supporting what I do here and allows me to grow the channel and continue bringing you awesome content. Right, that's it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Remain legend.